Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Red-haired Shanks has been one of the most mysterious characters throughout our entire story of One Piece, and so far his real goals and past have been quite hidden to us. And this makes this character not only enigmatic, but also increases our curiosity about him all the more. In one of the more recent chapters, we were introduced to the 9 Holy Knights, and these are unknown characters that are described as unbelievably powerful, and there are several indications that could prove that Shanks might be a member of this group that is obedient to the world government and reports directly to the Gorosei. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the possibility that Shanks is working with the world government to achieve one of his still hidden goals, in addition to talking about the evidence that we have that further encourages this idea. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like, and even subscribe, and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it keeps motivating us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, recently in the One Piece manga, we were introduced to a new group that acts as a direct force for the world government, and most likely obeys the Gorosei exclusively to fulfill their own interests. This group, known as the Holy Knights, is made up of 9 exceptionally powerful individuals, whose main mission is to establish and maintain peace in the world, following the orders of the world government to maintain their power and chokehold over the entire world. Now, the Holy Knights are really mysterious figures, and their true identities and real purpose within our story are still unknown. They appear suddenly and have never been mentioned before, piquing the curiosity of One Piece fans regarding these 9 mysterious people who have just been introduced. In this final saga of One Piece, the Holy Knights are most likely to be a very significant group, even though they've just been introduced. And they could be the possible antagonists to the revolutionaries, and would be the group to take on the Revolutionary Army when they make their move against the world government. As we saw, the Revolutionary Army is already making their move to cut off supplies to Marijois, and this is going to create a great confrontation directly with the world government. And they've even publicly announced that they are going to attack the world government, which is going to start this great battle between these 2 large organizations. In addition, it's most likely that these Holy Knights would also be able to face against some of the most powerful pirates in the world that are considered a threat to the established order. For instance, like a Yonko crew that are moving to find the One Piece. This great confrontation would end up defining the fate of the world of One Piece, and it promises to be an epic and intense battle. So the Holy Knights, with their unrivaled power and their dedication to establishing peace based on their own ideology, they represent a formidable force that will make them capable of taking on the revolutionaries and any pirates that seek to establish the current world order. And as I just said, this battle is not only going to decide the future of the main characters, but it's going to have the most profound implications for the entire world of One Piece. Because if they manage to win the great confrontation that is to come, the world government gets to maintain their rule over the world as they desire. As our story continues to unfold and approaches its climax, the Holy Knights might each get a chance to stand out with their different acts and possible appearances of each member bit by bit, because each one will be able to demonstrate not only what they look like, but their powers and their ideologies and how they fit into the world government and why they've been hidden so long. Even from the very little we've already seen, the presence and loyalty of the Holy Knights to the world government is going to heighten tension and anticipation for this final showdown, because they are the world government's ultimate weapon and trump card, and they're the only ones that can truly end the Age of Pirates and stop the Revolutionary Army. Based on this new group, a very interesting idea has emerged from evidence suggesting that Shanks, a charismatic red-haired pirate known as one of the 4 most powerful pirates in the world, could in fact be one of the Holy Knights of One Piece. So let's take a closer look at this information to better understand this possibility and whether it's likely or not. The first clue is the striking resemblance between the silhouette of one of the Holy Knights and Shanks' appearance, because there's the presence of the cape, which is very distinctive of Shanks whenever he's been shown in silhouette, and the similarity of the sword Griffin, which Shanks owns, with the sword seen in the silhouette of the Holy Knight, which draws our attention to this likelihood. These physical similarities could suggest a direct connection between Shanks and the mysterious group. There are also more subtle, smaller details, such as the hair and other small similarities that may link Shanks to this silhouette of one of the Holy Knights. Furthermore, it's interesting to note the special relationship that Shanks seems to have with the world government, more specifically the Gorosei, because despite being one of the Yonko, considered enemies of the world government, Shanks seems to have a remarkable and friendly connection with the Gorosei, being able to personally communicate them without being treated as a threat, even even visiting with them without any guards present. This unusual relationship may indicate that Shanks has a special status within the organization and is possibly one of the Holy Knights, even though he's a world-renowned pirate. Another relevant aspect is Shanks' affiliation with the Fearlin family, and as mentioned by the Gorosei during the One Piece film Red movie, Shanks belongs to a family and are supposedly world nobles, a class of people with great political influence and power within the world of One Piece. So Shanks' connection with this noble family might suggest that he has a direct connection to the world government and consequently the Holy Knights, as well as also confirming that the Holy Knights are actually descendants or factors of the powerful world nobles. If Shanks is indeed one of these Holy Knights, it would add even more weight to his character, and he would be a powerful individual both in the pirate scene and as an advocate for peace and world order around the globe. His ability as a Holy Knight would also explain his ability to negotiate and communicate with the Gorosei without being seen as a threat, in addition to being a Yonko that even Marine superiors respect. Now, there have been many ideas around the community of One Piece that Shanks and Luffy might actually fight, and that Shanks could eventually be the big bad of our story. But the possibility of Shanks fighting Luffy in the future, at the world government's request, is a more interesting scenario that could actually happen in the future. Now, why this idea is purely speculative, we could explore the circumstances that would lead to an epic confrontation between these two characters, which would be so critical to our story. First of all, it's really important to note that Shanks and Luffy have a relationship of respect and a friendship that was established at the very beginning of our story. Shanks was an inspirational, even mentor-like figure to Luffy, and gave him his straw hat and encouraged him to follow his dreams of becoming a great pirate. And this effective connection between these two characters would make a confrontation between them all the more impactful and emotionally complex. The likelihood of Shanks being summoned by the world government to face Luffy specifically could arise from an extreme situation in which the ideals and goals of these two characters come into direct conflict. After all, the world government as an institution seeks to maintain world order and is probably going to consider Luffy a threat because of the status he currently holds, as well as everything that's currently taking place in Egghead Island. This event will make Luffy an even more recognized worldwide character and even present a greater danger, mainly due to the fact that Admiral Kizaru and Gorosei Saturn are right now at this moment participating in this event on Egghead Island. With this context in mind, the world government might see Shanks as an effective means of containing Luffy's rise. Given Shanks' relationship with the organization and his role as a Holy Knight, the world government could either persuade him or just straight up force him to face Luffy in hopes of stopping the advancement of the Straw Hat Pirates' ambitions. However, this confrontation would inevitably bring emotional and ethical dilemmas for Shanks. He would have to deal with the weight of fighting his own protege, a young pirate that he had admired and encouraged throughout his journey. So this battle would be fraught with internal conflict for Shanks, testing his loyalties and his principles and even his own vision of justice. As for Luffy, facing Shanks would be the ultimate test of his strength and determination, because he would have to not only overcome a powerful opponent, but also the pain of fighting someone he considers a friend and a role model. It would be emotionally harrowing confrontation for Luffy, who would have to prove his resolve and reaffirm his own ideals, even in the face of such adversity. A clash like this between Shanks and Luffy would be a battle of epic proportions, and capable of shaking the fabric of the One Piece world to its core. And we would see a dense battle with many interesting events that explore themes such as loyalty, friendship, justice, choices, and would ultimately have an incredible ending. And let's be honest, for us as fans, the possibility of Shanks fighting Luffy in the future, especially at the request of the world government, would be an amazing thing for all of us to see. Mostly to know the reasons why Shanks became loyal to the world government even from such a young age after having become a pirate and being raised by the Pirate King himself. We've seen recently that Shanks has currently decided to go after the One Piece himself, and at the same time, he wants to see Luffy become the Pirate King. So these ambitions are a bit confusing and almost conflicting. So with this possibility of Shanks being one of the 9 Holy Knights, this would bring a greater depth and complexity to this character in a huge way. Throughout our story of One Piece, if this possibility turns out to be real, Oda's going to present with us several different clues until he arrives at this incredible revelation about who the Holy Knights are and what ultimately motivates them. And if Shanks turns out to be one of these Holy Knights, we're gonna have to see his past revealed and the reasons why he's traveling on this great journey in search of this great mysterious treasure, as well as revealing his goals with Luffy, why he started the whole journey, and answers which are very close to being revealed within this final saga of One Piece. So with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. First of all, what's your opinion on Shanks being a holy knight? Do you think he really is? Or do you think this is just kind of one of those tension-building things that Oda is famous and really great at doing? Now, there have been members in the One Piece community that have brought up the fact that during Shanks' quote-unquote meeting with the Gorosei, we never actually get to see the side of his face with the scar. And because of all the stuff we've learned on Egghead Island, cloning does exist within the world of One Piece. So, is it really Shanks, a family member, a clone, perhaps his father that was given the eternal youth surgery centuries ago? What do you think? Is it really Shanks, or is it just a red herring? Next, when do you think we're gonna get to see our first Holy Knight? With the Gorosei Saturn being on Egghead, if he's not there to fight and isn't the powerful fighter that we might think he is, if he were to become injured, would that be enough to get a Holy Knight to show up on the scene? And what might we learn? Are these individuals who've been raised and bred just to fight for the world government and the world nobles? Or is there a deeper and more twisted past? And finally, how do you think this epic battle between Shanks and Luffy might take place? Is it going to be a test of strength, or will it be that ultimate test for our young rubber captain to have to succeed his mentor and find out that the person he thought who was the greatest in the world has actually been hiding in the shadows, working for his greater enemy the whole time? Let us know what you think about that and everything else in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure to comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I can't wait to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.